किया जाता था, तब वहीं पर सिर्फ 40 महिलाओं को भर्ती किया जाता था। इसलिए मर्दों की मिलान में महिलाओं की संख्या काफी कम थी। गन्ने की खेती के अलावा इन किसानों को कोपरा, कपास और रबड़ के खेतों में काम करना पड़ता था। इसके अलावा इन्हें जंगल काटना पड़ता था तथा नाला इत्यादि भी साफ करना पड़ता था। मर्दों को जो काम दिया जाता था उसका 1/3 हिस्सा महिलाओं को दिया जाता था और इसी तरह से उन्हें मर्दों के तनख्वाह के 1/3 हिस्सा तनख्वाह के रूप में दिया जाता था, जबकि उनसे खेत के अलावा अन्य तरह के काम कराया जाता था, जैसे मर्दों के लिए भोजन पकाना, कपड़े धोना तथा घर की सफाई इत्यादि करना, मगर इसके लिए उन्हें कोई तनख्वाह नहीं दी जाती थी। निर्धारित शर्तों पर अगर कोई हस्ताक्षर कर देता था तो उसे फिर 5 वर्षों तक गिरमिट प्रथा के नीचे काम करना पड़ता था। गिरमिट के अंतर्गत इन किसानों के साथ गोरे लोग काफी सख्ती से पेश आते थे और इन पर बहुत अत्याचार करते थे। कई बार तो मर्दों को बहुत ही बेरहमी से पीटा गया, जबकि कई बार महिलाओं के साथ अश्लील हरकत करने की कोशिश की गई। कुछ महिलाओं ने तो इस तरह के घटना के शिकार होने के कारण आत्महत्या कर ली थी। गिरमिट प्रथा के नीचे आए किसानों को इतनी कड़ी मेहनत करनी पड़ती थी कि उनके लिए दिन काटना मुश्किल हो गया था। शुरू में तो इन्हें काफी कठिनाई का सामना करना पड़ता था। सुबह 3 या 4 बजे जागना और 6 बजे सवेरे खेतों में काम शुरू करना और फिर शाम 6 बजे तक खेतों में लगे रहना। मगर धीरे धीरे यह उनकी रोज की आदत बनी। उन गिरमिटियों के संघर्ष और कड़ी मेहनत का नतीजा अभी हमारे सामने है।
Rizwan an opportunity to share his thought process about this topic.
Okay, let's begin. Proceed for quick. Gulabinaka, Ram Ram, Pranam, Sasrikal, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and Aishwayo. I begin my greetings with that of the Tunaka Nation, who gave me the honor of being born and raised in their traditional territory in the Elk Valley. And I end my greetings with that of the Semyam First Nation, who've been gracious hosts here where I live and work today. Although the lands have been wrongly stolen from them, I thank them from the very bottom of my heart for giving me, my family, and my community the opportunity to live a life here on this great land. Thank you. Before I begin, I just wanted to say one quick thing about what Joanne had mentioned. Joanne told a story about the floods and how the canoes were taken to Mount Baker. I've been doing some research with working with Semyam. I've got the opportunity to do some research on things like this. And one of the papers that I came across was a paper about a flood that happened 12,000 years ago. This flood was the one that created the delta actually, Ladner, Richmond. These lands were actually created by this very flood that happened 12,000 years ago. As a matter of fact, this summer, being the nerd that I am, I'm going to go on a little bit of a field trip down the Fraser Valley, the Fraser Canyon, and you can actually see in the rocks themselves the evidence of this flood that happened 12,000 years ago. So when First Nations speak on their history and their stories, it's not just some nebulous idea of some myth of what they're talking about. What they're talking about is actually rooted, deep rooted in history. So, with that being said, this here, normally what I do when I stand here and I speak is I have a speech written out and I have a script and it makes me feel very comfortable about what I'm talking about. But this year I decided not to do that. I had a conversation with a friend of mine and she told me that sometimes what I talk about gets a little bit too emotional, maybe a little bit too much focused on what happened with Gibbon instead of about the day itself. So today I decided to just bring it. There's many cases of suicide that happened in Fiji. As a matter of fact, the suicide rate in Fiji was the largest per capita in the entire Indian diaspora at the time. And it was one of the reasons why indentured labor was abolished in India in the first place. So these are stories that we don't talk about. These are stories that we're never told. These are stories that we don't celebrate. Nobody talks about Pandit Totaram Sanadia and his book, My 21 Years in Fiji. No one talks about what's written in that book and the stories that he talks about the atrocities that he himself had to endure as a Girmitiya. And no one talks about how he himself was one of the biggest reasons why indentured labor was abolished in India in the first place. As a matter of fact, Pandit Sanadia lived in Mahatma Gandhi's ashram. He was one of his disciples as well. And he helped, through that book and through his own campaigning, helped to make the people of India realize that what they were doing was atrocious and it needed to stop. As a matter of fact, Mahatma Gandhi's first opportunity at Satyagraha, non-violent protests, was against the train that was sending Girmitiyas to a depot in Kolkata, and nobody knows that. This is the day we talk about these things. This is the day we talk about why we are here and how we got here. And most importantly, well, importantly as well, it's also the day that we put those people on notice that actually put us here in the first place. We don't have an apology from the Fijian government for indentured labor, nor do we have an apology from the government of the UK or the royal family. Yet, we have Rogers Sugar and their mansion downtown that people talk about all the time, but no one talks about the Girmitiyas who helped build that building and build Rogers Sugar to what it is today. Today is the day that we do that, guys. That's what we're doing now. That's why we're here today. So, I think in closing, what I want you all to do is to take the spirit of today, Girmitiya Day, into your own lives and into your own everyday, day-to-day activities, and decolonize your mind in the hopes of decolonizing our culture. Don't let the government tell you, today's Girmit Day, you guys go celebrate, go party, go have drinks, be hungover and celebrate the next day. That's not what Girmit Day is all about. It's Girmitiya Day. It's a day that we hold the government responsible for what they did to our people. And we hold them responsible, and we celebrate today as the resiliency of our people. So, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, and children. We are here to honor our ancestors who are not among us today. Today is the recognition and observation of our heroes, our mentors, our trailblazers, our forefathers, great-grandfathers who gave their life for us, for what we are today, and they paved the path for us to enjoy the life that we enjoy here in Canada today. On behalf of the Indo-Fijian Cultural Association, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all. Allow me to introduce the team members of the Indo-Fijian Cultural Association. Rizwan Abbas, he is an archaeologist and who works on this First Nation land, as you already know. Second, Sashi Singh is a community activist and a businessman who has worked in the community for many, many years. And we have Salim Mohammed, who is not among us today, but he is a retired policeman from Fiji and very much involved with PCML. But somehow he is not able to come due to his work. And that's me. I'm the producer of Fiji Focus. And special thanks go to Rubina and Rubina's brother, who has been helping setting up
Rizwan's brother.
Rizwan's brother, Rubina and Rizwan's brother setting up the room and setting the people up here. Thank you so much. Before we proceed, let's.
One year ago today, I sat in the same seats that all of you are sitting in. And the air was thick with stories that were untold and memories to be honored. I came to Girmitiya Day for the first time that year, not knowing anything about this chapter in my history. My father, Ash, died in 2018. He never spoke about this story. And I had no idea how deeply it would transform or change me as I learned more about it. It was like a seed that was ready to blossom inside me. Mr. Sashi Singh, Rizwan, host, and fellow community members, and most welcome guests. This story is a story of rediscovery. The story belongs to all of us, a thread that connects our past to our future, but also connects every one of us through those stories. I'd like to share with you quickly my story that started last May when I came to this event. After last year's Girmitiya Day, I became hungry to learn more about this. Each discovery felt like uncovering another piece of myself that was missing, that was hidden away for generations.
Start the event by introducing our first panelist, my dear friend Mr. Umendra Singh. I think most of you know Umendra. Umendra has a very storied past, born and raised in the Fiji Islands, finished his high school and some university education in Fiji at the USP. And Umendra he became a journalist and became a very, very proficient and a prominent journalist in Fiji. And I think over a span of 15 years, he was with Fiji Times, created quite a legacy. Umendra subsequently in the 80s moved to Canada, to Vancouver, and he continued his passion for journalism and telling stories. Also hosted numerous multicultural television and radio programs as well. Umendra has been for many years working with the Ministry of Poverty Reduction and Social Development. Well, not that ministry, but that division. And he is also the acting Vice President of Fiji Canada Association. So Umendra has spread his tentacles far and wide within the community and doing a lot of philanthropic, selfless work. So Umendra, welcome and thank you for your time. Tell us your story.
Thank you, Sashi.
And the story is it.
Will it be okay?
Tom might not be able to understand.
I'll explain to John later on. Just like I explained to his dad many times, right?
Can you all hear Umendra?
Can you hear me?
Speak up or
I got a loud voice. I mean, that's what my wife says. Okay. I can stop. I don't know whether this is working or not. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So as Sashi said, that I'm a journalist and a writer. I worked in Fiji at Fiji Times. I actually met Girmitiyas, people who actually worked in the fields during my time that I worked. During my work, I met them and I spoke to them, interviewed them. I met a woman in Lambasa. I met two men, one in Singapore.
I did the opposite. I was like, I just want to blend in. I'm going to wear baggy clothes, and no one should know where I was from. For the first little bit in elementary school, maybe up until grade 5, I didn't even want my name to be known because I was like, people don't know how to pronounce it. It's going to be hard. I'd rather call myself Chantel or something that's different from me, so that I can fit in. And it wasn't until maybe grade 5 that I started embracing my name even. Because when I grew up, it was not cool to have a brown name. It was not cool to know another language. Today it is. It's such a different world, and I feel like the generations ahead have such a blessing that they can just be who they are. They have more of a diversity in their schools, so very different. But everything I once ran away from, I'm embracing today, and I'm appreciative to the fact that my parents always said, Hindi baat karo, or khad ke khana khao, and all those things, because now I could probably eat dal bhat every day. I don't want to eat all the outside food all the time. I appreciate home food. I appreciate our language. I appreciate that I was forced to have bhajan practice. Now I know Hindi. So no, everything is definitely a blessing. But my journey, I guess, as learning about my ancestry, my history, is more so, it started around 2016. I was in design class in jewelry art and design is my background. I have a diploma in, and my father's a goldsmith. That's how I kind of got into it. So I had that journey of like realization that like I don't connect with these designs. This is not me. I don't find this very interesting. So I started designing jewelry that more so aligned with Indo-Fijian and Indian history. So I try to bring them together with line art, mainly, and trying to copy the tapa art, but bring it into Indian jewelry form. So that's kind of my passion. But yeah, no, I think one thing that I like to push as a message is that know your history, know your past, know your ancestry, because you become more comfortable as a human being when you know where you came from, when you know what your ancestors struggled through and why you are here today. It made me more comfortable in my skin, and I think it's just a beautiful journey. Every day you're going to find out something new, whether you talk to someone from your family or the community, so I highly recommend it. And I guess since 2016 it's been a journey, but especially since I met Rizwan, actually, I had the honor of working with him. We did a really cool display at the Surrey Museum in 2019, and that was probably the most coolest experience, because some of the most important people in my life today are here because I met them through that project or after that event, so it was really special.
And he was also voted as Mayor of the Year in Kelowna. But his lovely wife Sarita tells me he's working very hard to become the husband of the year. and despite your credentials, you still have less than 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm very sure. Thank you, Sashibai. And good evening, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to help at least remember and in a way celebrate this day. So Girmit itself, there's nothing to celebrate about, and I think people have already talked about it. I mean, we can remember, we can reflect, we can respect, we can honor, and we can appreciate what happened. And we also will need to remember for future that these kind of atrocities we will never let happen again. So that's something for us to keep in mind. But what we can and should celebrate is the resiliency of the people, of all of those 60,000 plus people that endured those atrocities, the hardships, and they did not just survive. Actually, they beat it. They succeeded in a great way. And I'm going to talk more about, not my story, but about the resiliency part. So, born and raised in Fiji, in a small village in Missouri, in Kasavu, and very privileged to have met both my grandparents from maternal and paternal side. I've got a great opportunity to spend a lot of time with them. They were from southern India, from Kerala, and I feel very privileged that I got to spend the time, listen to their stories. They were reminiscing about their childhood, the people, the next of kin that they left behind. But they also, told us a lot of stories about the hardships that they faced when they were in Fiji. And just listening to the story over and over and over again, what it really did, drilled in us, or me at least, and I'm pretty sure many Fijians, how to be resilient. When we have that, when the times are tough, we just need to become even bigger and better. And that's the part that really helped me. When I was 11 years old, I could not go to school, or there was no money for me to go to school to further my education. Those lessons actually helped me get there. And when I was 20 years old, I ended up in Canada. And Rizwan actually mentioned a very little known fact that the first sugar mill in Missouri was owned or created by Rogers Sugar Company out of Vancouver. I don't know if a lot of people, it's not a very widely known fact.
Right,
yeah. But that is the relation. I mean, there is a relationship between Fiji and Canada. Ended up in Canada in a small town called Kelowna. This is in 1979, 27 years ago, the most racist town in the entire country. And today, it still is, and I openly say it, they're the most racist town. So just imagine a 20-year-old kid in a town where they haven't seen too many brown or black people. And those lessons that my grandparents were telling me about the hardships that they faced, I felt like a bit of a Girmit experience myself in a very small way. Not to have any disrespect to the people that came from India in 1800s and early 1900s, but we had to go through the same thing, a lot of racism, a lot of discrimination. But the lessons that we learned, the stories that they told us, helped us overcome those. And it took me 20 years to establish there, going through. I'm not going to repeat all of the stories because everybody's told about what they experienced, and we experienced the same thing. Parked in at a stop, somebody would unwind the window, and you think they want to say something, you unwind the window, and they spit at you. Or they would say, "Paki, go home." And I didn't understand what Paki was. In Fiji, nobody knew what Paki was. Right? And it was all kind of new learning experiences. But we endured. We survived. We thrived. And I think 47 years later, now I walk in the town, nobody spits at me. So that's my story, and I'm going to be very short. What I want to leave with everybody is that I think what's ingrained in us through the experiences of forefathers is really helping us get somewhere. If you see how Fijians have really done amazing work, have really taken to the next level in different places. In New Zealand, I was privileged enough to meet the Governor General, who was actually born and raised in Fiji. And recently, I think a few days ago, the Attorney General of Australia has a Fijian heritage as well. And we have amongst us Rochelle, who actually goes and speaks at United Nations. So those are the kinds of things that we've done. And through the stories and the proudness that we feel about our forefathers are able to do that. And Bob and your dad as well, are doing some amazing work here as well. So that's amazing, and just yourself. So we're very privileged. I think our history is very storied in many different ways. But I think we have really embraced the beauty of who we are. We've taken the atrocities and changed it around into a very positive thing, and really tried to do some amazing stuff. Thank you very much, and thank you all for listening.